What is up guys, it's Solheim here, back with another Wrath of the Lich King Classic video. So today we're looking at some of the changes coming in Wrath of the Lich King Classic, and there's a lot to look at, so let's get right into it. First up, raiding. Raids can be done on normal or heroic difficulties, aka they have added a brand new difficulty for raiding. It is worth mentioning that heroic raids don't come until the latter half of Wrath of the Lich King Classic, or Wrath in general. At least that's how it was originally done back in the day, but it could be interesting to see a heroic Naxxramas for Wrath Classic, not gonna lie. Raiding can also be done on both 10-man and 25-man difficulties for each raid tier, making raids more flexible in terms of how many people you need to show up for a raid. Next up, change number 2 is you scrolling down right now, finding that subscribe button and change it from subscribe to subscribed. Nah, but for real, the LF3 tool from TBC Classic gets turned into the dungeon finder, which automatically finds you a group for a dungeon by putting you into sort of a queue system, and when it finds you a group for the dungeon, it teleports you to that dungeon as well, pretty much automating the entire process. While some see this as eliminating a vital part of the classic WoW experience, aka the community and sense of community, and getting to know each other while running to the dungeon entrance together, others look at it as a quality of life upgrade that saves you the time of running to the dungeon entrance. It all depends on how you look at it. It can be seen as both, and personally I feel like walking to the dungeon entrance made a lot of sense in classic WoW, but from TBC onwards you could already fly to the dungeon entrance anyway, and flying to the dungeon entrance doesn't really help build the group synergy or anything, so personally I think adding the dungeon finder to Wrath of the Lich King is just a quality of life upgrade, but I would never want it in, for example, vanilla classic WoW. But once again, that is just my opinion, and I bet a lot of people will both agree and disagree with me on that one. So next up, Glyphs. This one might look small on paper, but it's a lot bigger in reality. Glyphs have the potential to really alter your class, bringing in a lot of huge DPS increases and healing increases, and even tanking upgrades. You can reduce the mana cost of certain spells, reduce the cooldown of certain abilities, increase the direct damage of other abilities, and even increase your stats such as critical strike on certain abilities. For healers, we can look at Holy Paladin's Glyph, the Glyph of Holy Light, which makes it so when you heal your primary target with Holy Light, you will also heal nearby allies for a certain amount, allowing you to heal several people at the same time, while just spam healing one target, making you the perfect tank healers or focus target healers. Next up, another change is no lengthy attunements to unlock access to raids or heroic dungeons. Once again, this can be seen as a good or a positive, a good or a bad thing. It takes away a lot of the actual gameplay, and it lets you skip a lot of essentials from TBC Classic. Basically, once you reach level 80, you can pretty much jump straight into both heroic dungeons and raiding without any attunements or pretty much requirements whatsoever. Personally, I don't actually mind this, but once again it takes away a huge part of the actual grind and will or could lead to content being cleared even faster, which could result in early burnout. That one was pretty quick, so let's just move on. Talents. Many talents have been reworked for Wrath of the Lich King Classic. Way too many for me to go through in this video, but believe me when I say there's been a bunch of upgrades. They have switched out which talents are on which rows, they have switched what each talent does, and they have even removed some talents and added new ones. One quick example of this is the Art of War talent for Paladins, which increases the damage done of your Judgment, Crusader Strike, and Divine Storm abilities by 5%, and when your melee abilities critically hit, the cast time of your next Flash of Light or Exorcism is reduced by 0.75 seconds for the first talent point, and on the second talent point, your Flash of Light or Exorcism becomes completely instant, making Retribution Paladins insane in PvP when they can proc that instant heal. Talents such as Improved Corruption have also been reworked for Warlocks, as Corruption is now an instant cast on baseline, and having Improved Corruption will increase the damage done instead of lowering the cast time because once again it is instant by default, and pretty much every spec has received new talents to make the class feel better to play and perform better. I will leave a link to both the TBC Classic, TBC Talent Calculator, and Wrath of the Lich King Talent Calculators in the video description, so you can find out the exact changes for your specific class. Next up, spells. Throughout the duration of Wrath, many spells have received adjustments to increase their power or reduce their cooldown, basically quality of life improvements to help underperforming classes or specs, or just in general adjustments centered around class balancing. For example, Paladin's Judgment spell has now been replaced with 3 new Judgment spells, the Judgment of Light, Judgment of Wisdom, and Judgment of Justice. Your seal ability, or seal abilities, also lasts 30 minutes, making this a real buff instead of something you constantly have to reapply. Druid's Moonkin form has also been slightly reworked, so whenever you deal a critical strike, you have a chance to restore mana, helping with Boomkin's mana issues from TBC. Once again, there's a lot of class changes to every single class, and I will leave the patch notes for the first patch of Wrath of the Lich King in the video description, highlighting literally over 100 class changes. Next up, a brand new profession, Inscription. This new profession brings with it many new and cool things, including the ability to craft trinkets and offhands, Dark Moon cards, scrolls, and enchanting volumes, and it also brings with it a new crafting profession based on herbalism materials, further increasing the value of herbalism. The new profession, aka Inscription, also brings with it a couple of extra changes, so Dark Moon cards will no longer be random drops from specific locations, dungeons or raids, but can now be crafted through Inscription. Scribes can also craft Agility, Strength, Intellect and Spirit scrolls, so these scrolls will be worth way less in Wrath than they were in TBC, where they were quite lucrative and selling for up to 25 gold per scroll on some servers. Scribes can also craft weapon volumes or enchanting volumes, allowing you to store enchants on those volumes, making it easier for you to buy and sell enchants. Next up, another huge change is Heirlooms. This is basically an addition, but this makes it so for a much more alt-friendly experience. They will give you increased experience gains while leveling, directly helping you level up faster, and they will even scale with your level, meaning that you never have to change them out or look for upgrades, which in itself is a huge upgrade. Having shoulders or weapons from level 1 that scales with your level is absolutely huge, and you can even enchant these heirlooms with incredibly overpowered enchants that will make you one-shot anything at lower levels. Also, there's a lot less emphasis on professions per se when it comes to raiding, like in TBC. You had blacksmithing, tailoring and leatherworking, which were capable of providing huge DPS increases, especially in the early raids in phase 1, and people were rushing tailoring to be able to craft their tailoring sets as early as possible. While there are still profession bonuses in Wrath, there's no kind of requirement to be X profession if you're X class. Like in TBC, you're pretty much expected to be a tailor if you're a caster or a healer, but in Wrath there's a lot more variety. That being said, based on data mining, most classes will benefit the most from either engineering, blacksmithing or jewel crafting. Engineering brings with it a glove haste enchant, which is great for classes that benefit from haste, which is almost every single class. Blacksmithing brings with it extra sockets, and jewel crafting brings with it more powerful sockets. In addition to all of these changes, we also have some honorable mentions that I wanted to talk about, but didn't spend the most of the time focusing on, as I wanted the top 10 title. So first up, Dual Talent Specialization. This one is huge, probably even deserved a spot in the top 10, but I've already talked about this in previous videos, and it's something everyone knows about, although I guess that the same can be said for everything else in the top 10. But yeah, this is another change coming in Wrath that will make it easier than ever to find groups for pretty much everything, but especially heroic dungeons. In TBC there were times where it took hours to find a tank or a healer for heroic dungeons, and this will not be a problem in Wrath of the Lich King, partly due to the dual talent specialization. Having dual talent specialization allows you to have 2 different talent builds that you can freely swap between at any time with preset keybinds and talents, so swapping from DPS to tank will take you literally 5 seconds and you are good to go. Next up, heroic dungeons are drastically easier in Wrath of the Lich King than in TBC Classic. This is likely a change that was made because a very small percentage of the player base back in OG TBC got to experience heroic dungeons, simply because they were so difficult. Blizzard likely wanted more of their player base to experience the content that they put time into making, and they wanted heroic dungeons to be accessible and doable for more casual players. To be fair, I also think heroic dungeons in TBC were way too difficult, at least compared to the reward you got from them. It is a classic effort versus reward scenario, but I also think they are way too easy in Wrath, so something in the middle would have been amazing. A couple more changes would be the class meta, or more the lack of a specific class meta, the fact that pretty much every class and spec is playable in some part of Wrath, and also we have a brand new class, the Death Knight. So yeah, there you have it guys, that is my top 10 changes coming in Wrath of the Lich King Classic, plus some bonus changes I thought were worth mentioning. I left out some changes on purpose, and probably forgot quite a few as well, so if there's any changes you would have mentioned in this video, make sure you let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure you slap a like on it. It seriously means a lot and it helps boost the video itself, which makes it perform better in the almighty algorithm. And if you want more Wrath of the Lich King Classic content, click that subscribe button as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again very soon.